Is that what I think it is?
Oh no, is that a good movie?
Yes, Puss, that is a good movie. But I did not know what to expect when walking into that theater. But it was definitely not the absolute banger of a movie that was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This movie is easily worth over $200 pillion, and the reviews replicate that stance. This is without a doubt one of DreamWorks' best movies of recent time, but there is no use in waiting around. So let's start with the extremely well-crafted story and characters in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Who is your favorite fearless hero? Who is your favorite fearless hero?
You, Puss! You are my favorite fearless hero! And that is immediately told to us after we see a town being saved by the walking little hairball Risen Boots, who is now on his last life and is being hunted by death itself. In fear, he ends up going to what is essentially a nursing home for cats so he can blend in and stay safe. There, he meets a dog that now joins Puss after they overhear Goldilocks and the three bears talking about a wishing star able to grant any wish. Puss follows this lead as he's hoping to wish back his 9 lives. They then go to Jack Horner's pie factory to find out he's the one who has the map leading to the star. After Puss and the dog initiate their plan to steal the map, they run into Kitty Softpaws, Puss's ex-lover. The three form a team, and from there, the movie goes on with the rest of it being their journey in getting the star while ensuring it does not end up in the wrong hands, and while avoiding death. Literally and literally. That's all fine and dandy, and it's a well-made plot that forces the characters on their journey, but nothing special, until you add the characters into the movie and include their growth. There are the good guys and the bad guys. Out of the 3 bad guys, there's Goldilocks and the 3 bears, who are the antagonists, Jack Horner, who is the main villain here, and then there's Death, who is the overarching evil of the story. Death is easily one of the best characters and villains in this movie, and that's because he stands for more than just being the big bad wolf. He stands as a physical embodiment and nature of death and how fragile one's life is. The only reason Death tries to pursue killing Puss is because he doesn't want Puss to waste his last life, so Death would end his life himself. Puss literally says,
Puss in Boots laughs in the face of death.
Personally, if I was Death, I wouldn't let that slide, and in fact, he doesn't. Death also reminds Puss of his mortality by shedding his blood, causing fear and panic to course through him. This fear can even be brought into the audience with the whistling in your ears whenever Death is lurking. Death also is a reminder of mortality, as it is a common theme with Death's character, and he even has a line that emanates with me and clearly the rest of the internet. That line being,
Pick it up.
This is referring to Puss picking up his sword after being disarmed, but this means a whole lot more. This means for Puss to face death and his mortality rather than run away from it like he initially does. This means to either face that he has been wrongly using his lives and to change that for the better, or to continue being in denial and wasting one last life dying alone. Death's character raises the stakes for the movie, but also grounds it by giving the audience something to fear, while also giving us something to realize in. We watching only have one life. What point is there in wasting it? Now this is where I'm going to get into some spoilers. You can skip to this time here if you want to avoid spoilers. If you don't care, then just keep watching. The characters in this movie, especially Puss, have some massive growth and all of them are executed perfectly. Throughout Puss's past adventures, he's always been self-obsessed and thinks he's immortal. This continues even after Puss is on his last life, as he is now in denial. But immediately when Puss sheds blood from Death's blade, he's afraid and has to face the fact that one small accident can mean the end of his life. Throughout the rest of this movie, Puss is basically haunted by this figure of death and even suffers from an anxiety attack from the fear. This leads all the way to the end where Puss realizes that he doesn't need the 9 lives anymore, as he only needs to cherish one of them. Puss realizes that his short-term happiness of partying and being immediately forgotten is not the form of happiness he wants to have, and realizes that his relationships with Kitty and Dog, later named Perito, is the happiness Puss truly wants. The idea of family is also shared with Goldilocks, who initially wanted the wish to get a human family, or what she calls the right family. But at the end of the movie, Baby Bear is about to die. It's not really confirmed, but he was in danger, And instead of using the wish in her lap, Goldilocks lets it go and runs to save Baby Bear, realizing that she had her real family the whole time. Kitty also had a small amount of growth, as she is initially untrusting of anyone but herself. This leads to a harsh dynamic between Puss and Kitty throughout the entire movie, where eventually Kitty hears Puss's regrets about getting cold feet on their wedding day. Yikes. Her witnessing this makes her realize that it wasn't Puss caring about himself more than Kitty, it was that he was too afraid for such a big change and a step in his life, now willing to give Puss another chance. These three characters realize that they don't need a magic wish to be happy, but already have everything they want right in front of them, leading to the tearing of the magic wish and the end of the story with each character learning from their experiences on their quest. It is a great moral portrayed through the shift of characters, a lesson that can be applied to everyone.
I don't know. I never counted. I am not really a math guy.
Well, luckily you don't have to be to enjoy this movie, as it looks amazing. It's like they resurrected Bob Ross to make each frame of this movie because it is a visual masterpiece. This movie is on the same graphical level as Spider-Verse, which, speaking of, also has an incredible influence on the movie's visuals and animations. Having more choppy yet cartoony visuals makes this movie a joy to look at compared to the more realistic visuals we have gotten so used to with other movies. At times, this movie looks like it's a painting to be hung in my house. It is just gorgeous. That also applies to its animations, which are fluid yet choppy to exaggerate fight scenes, which are all stupendous. Each hit on a character actually has an impact. Each swing of a blade actually feels like it can kill someone, and that makes it so engaging and interesting when watching, and even raises those stakes. The attention to detail in some scenes is crazy in this movie. After Puss finds out he is on his last life, he is drinking milk at the bar, and when he's done, he is in the middle of drinking his 9th cup, much like how he is going through his last life, his 9th life. Another cool detail is while Puss is fighting the giant at the beginning of the movie, you can see Death watching Puss in an alleyway, waiting for him to lose another life. These are small things that can be easily missed, but add so much to the story and bring the character interactions to life. When Death says he was always there, he truly was.
Dragging, honey scrounging, grub, oafish, munching, mingy.
The audio in this movie is great. From its music, to sound effects, to its dialogue, it all works together quite well to make an enjoyable and laughable movie for its entire 90-minute runtime. Music is great with songs like Fearless Hero, and anxiety-inducing songs such as He's Here For Me. And that includes Death's brain-itching whistling that sends chills each time I hear it. There are even more great tracks from this movie, but I'll hold back so I can allow you guys to enjoy it for yourself. Sound effects work great, such as the slashing of a sword or the tearing of skin. These sound effects, when combined, help raise the stakes of the movie and make you feel really invested in what is going on. Dialogue is also great, with each sentence pushing the movie forward in some way, or just being badass. Many lines of dialogue play along with the idea of the entire world being based off of fairy tales, often including references to stories. An example of this is how Goldilocks and her bears are often trying to find what is just right, which is a callback to the original story. Or how about Jack Horner, whose story is of him as a child sticking his thumb in pie. Now he runs a pie factory, mentioning how his past stories are a shame to look at. Continuing with the dialogue, this movie is hilarious. There are so many moments visually, but also with what is just said and that is being simply brushed past by, such as Jack when he says,
You're not gonna shoot a puppy, are you, Jack?
Yeah, in the face. Why?
Overall, you will not feel disappointed in the audio department of this movie, as it is just too good and is a blast to listen through.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Yes sir, I will gladly pick this movie up again and again and again and again. Heck, I might even go to Build-A-Bear and get myself a Puss in Boots stuffed animal because of how awesome this movie is. I seriously cannot recommend this movie enough. And I even have to say that this movie is a must-watch. Whether that be for the family, with your friends, or even heck alone, Puss in Boots 2 is easily worth the watch. DreamWorks was able to capture that old and classic DreamWorks feel in this movie with its fantastic characters, its stunning visuals, and its banger soundtrack. Pickles in Boots is just right.